Hi, I'm Dr. Bridget Bongard, Medical Director of the Maui Cancer Wellness Retreats. And this is a new video in our series called The New You for Healing and Self-Transformation. And it'll go in our online video library, and as well as being shown to you today so that we can have a question and answer afterwards. So this is a very interesting time in life, isn't it? COVID-19 has changed everything, and it has really allowed us to look at our own habits, our patterns, and really allowed us to reflect and reset our lives to decide what we really want. And you know, it's interesting that when we're first born, it's really a clean slate. You're like an absorptive sponge, and you're mirroring all your parents and your teachers, and this is how you build your identity. And that's created between age 3 and 6. And not that it's totally hardened at that point, but even at age 6, you can still ask children, well, who are you? What do you want to be when you grow up? And they can say, oh, I want to be an explorer. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a teacher. So they have this feeling that still that connection with their subconscious mind and their soul to be able to get those inspirations of who they really are and what they truly want to be. So we want to take you back to this in breaking the habit of being yourself. We want to get you back to that almost childlike state where you can go back and see who you really are. And now with the reset button pressed with COVID and the old patterns recognized, what new things do you really want to manifest and create for yourself? How do you want to transform yourself during this time? Of course, you know, we've had a lot of negative influence in our life too. People call it character development, but it's really trauma. It's emotional trauma. And that also gets stored in the subconscious mind. And it actually is very influential because it causes fear-based thinking. So we have to be able to go into our subconscious mind and go, well, I feel this fear arise, and I get it. But that was from this time in my life. Well, is that still happening? No, it's not. You have more control, you're an adult now, but still those child-based fears are still there. So we have to very gently take them, reframe them, nourish yourself, and move those fears out. Because the subconscious mind is actually the repository for all of this. The conscious mind is what keeps us going day to day. You know, we're driving our car, we're focused on doing this, doing that, and we're repeating the same patterns of the past. But the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind is actually pulling all the strings, and it's actually sending up thoughts and feelings that get you off kilter, and it's an opportunity for you to reflect and say, whoa, wait a minute, that just showed up. Why? Where did that come from? How do I want to change it? Because guess what? These emotions actually are stored in the body biochemically. And so every part of your story becomes actually a part of you physically. That's really interesting, isn't it? So we all have a story to tell. And stories are very important because stories are how we see ourselves. Stories are what we tell others as to who we really are. But is that truly who we are? So in the Hawaiian culture, as with many cultures, talking story is of huge value. Number one, it allows you to be in community and exchange ideas with others and meet new people and get new ways of looking at things, new perspectives, things you never thought about until you met that one person. Because we're all unique in the whole repository of our experiences. So the being able to trade stories back and forth and not be ashamed to tell your story is incredibly important, because when you actually share your story, guess what? I'm inspired. Or, you know what? That happened to me. You're kidding. That happened to you? That happened to me too. I'm not the only one. Okay, then that allows it to be okay to process and get it up and move it out. Or maybe you get to share joy and make someone else's day and feel that joy of giving, or giving a unique gift of your own experience to someone else. It's really such an important thing, and it creates healing. And when we talk our story, you've met people who have the same story over and over, over and over, over and over, over and over, because that's comfortable and they're just not aware. So I'm asking you to change your story if you like, because in doing that, you also change your brain function. So what we call neuroplasticity. So in changing your brain function, or better yet, when I do the same thing over and over, these neuronal connections get bigger and denser, and I have a tendency to repeat that same thing. That's what a habit's all about, isn't it? Or an addiction, the early stages of addiction. But you can bust that, and you can start a new pattern, you can start a new habit, you can start a new way of thinking. And what that does is creates what we call positive neuroplasticity, whereby you take care of yourself, you're listening to what you're thinking and saying, and you're trying to remain positive no matter what. Or if something negative happens, you get it up, move it out, transform it. And when you do these positive habits and the positive way of thinking, these neuronal connections get bigger and bigger and bigger. And guess what? Your cognitive or your thinking ability gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and your daily function, or how your life is experienced, is much more positive. Think about it. If someone's negative all the time, that's what we call negative neuroplasticity, and their thoughts become very limited, and their way of functioning becomes sad and unhappy. So it's critical that we actually are very observant about what we think, say, and do, so that we can build up these positive neural connections. So there's an old story from the Cherokee tradition about a grandson who asked grandfather, he said, "You know, I feel like I have two wolves inside of me." Grandfather says, "Yes, you do." He said, but grandfather, they're fighting. One is angry, one has shame and guilt, and the other one just wants to be happy and helpful and experience abundance. And grandfather said, "No, you're right. Very, very good." He says, "But grandfather, which one of them's going to win?" And grandfather says, "Well, the one you feed." So it's a beautiful example of what we can do when we look at our thoughts. Which wolf do we want to feed? So fear is just our brain's way of saying that we need to look at something and we need to change something. And one of the techniques in doing so is called mind mapping. So what you do is you take a sheet of paper and you write down the negative emotion that's come up. Maybe it's anxiety. And you say, okay, draw a circle around that. Well, all right, so what's causing anxiety? Oh, yep, that person. Oh, this situation. Oh, this place even. Where did that come from? So when I was in a particular place, what happened? Or when I was with a particular person, how did this happen? When did this start? And etc. So you keep just paring it down till you really see the root of this. And then you can start generating solutions. So you generate at least 3 solutions. One would be the worst case scenario, one's the best case scenario, and one's kind of like in between, which is where most of the time it lands. So that's a really great way of starting to break down, reshape, and transform some of these things that have been stuck in there for a long time, or they've just arisen up and you're going, where did this come from? That's a way to analyze it and break it down that's really successful. And then I always want you to think about what we think our life should have been. So that means that we have regrets that we haven't lived the life that brings us the most fullest expression of who we are. Well, the only reason that happens is that you keep telling yourself that same story over and over and over again that prevents you from having what you really want. So I say let's change it, and let's change it now. Let's hit that reset button, and let's do a little exercise here. This is actually from Deepak Chopra's work. It's who am I? Not who I think I am, not who everybody else thinks I am, but who am I? This unique, magical individual that has gifts to share that only you can share, because that's your birthright as a soul. So let's take a pen and paper again, and let's list 20 things who you are. So I don't mean mother, father, sister, brother, none of the superficial thing, brown eyes or brown hair. No, I want to know the innate qualities that make you you as a unique individual. So take a minute and list those. And there's a reason for this. So dig deep, listen to yourself, and list all those beautiful characteristics that are only you. Okay, very good. Now secondly, I would like you to make a list of the 10 things you need. Not want, but what do you truly need to be happy in this lifetime? And it may not even be the same as what it was 10 years ago, but looking at it now, what do you really need? All right, great. I want you to make a list of 10 things of why you actually are here. What is your purpose? And this is really important. What do you want to manifest in this lifetime? Good. And the fourth, which is probably even the most important, is what are you grateful for? List 10 things that you're really grateful for. Maybe it could be a person, it could be anything. But gratitude is a powerful, powerful feeling that actually allows us to bring our energy up and move it into what we really want to manifest. And gratitude also is a wonderful way of clearing out fear and creating a healing in your heart. Gratitude comes from the heart, and which is the seat of the soul. So list those things. Excellent. So now you have your list, and you look at all the strengths that you have that maybe you haven't been using. So how do you use these pieces of yourself, or what pieces do you want to use? Maybe there's things that you've been using before, but now you're going to look at it in a different way, and maybe you're going to add this strength onto here, and then that allows you to break the habit of being yourself, and it makes you aware of how you want to express yourself and getting what you need to live the life you want to live with joy, with gratitude. And that is so powerful. So I really encourage you to reflect on that and really let it seep in and start seeing connections that you never saw before, and allow you to redesign your life as you want it and break the habit of being your old self. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this video series, and would love to be able to answer any questions for you. You can email me on Maui Cancer Wellness Retreats at gmail.com, or you can go to our website at www.mauicancerwellnessretreats.org for more of our programs, and also give us feedback. Thank you so much. Take care.